Hi, you guys. It's Monday morning, overcast, but really bright out here. I wanted to show you something. This is kind of interesting. I was standing outside yesterday talking to my next door neighbor, and he was talking about there are these two little birds that we have that run around our yard, mostly in the front yard. They're called killdeer. They're really cute. They're like on stilts, but they're short, probably no higher than my hand. Yeah, and anyway, and they have they're brown and they have a white belly and they have like a little white choker around their neck. And anyway, so as I was talking to the neighbor, he looks over at that bird and he said, that bird always lays an egg right over here about where you're standing every year. And so we looked around and all of a sudden there's this egg, which if he hadn't pointed it out, I probably would have stepped on. So let me show you. All right, so these bricks are here to indicate where the egg is so we don't destroy it. Now here's all this rock. Look how camouflaged this thing is. Can you see where the egg is? It's right there. So the bird gets really upset when we're over here, but talk about fitting in. So the first year, the guy who owned this house saw the egg and he said to his neighbor, "Hey, come look at this." And then as he was trying to find it, he stepped on it. And then the second year, they were doing something in the driveway and a truck backed over it. And so anyway, this is the third year that this bird has laid an egg in the same place, and our neighbor said, you might want to put something around it to kind of warn you of where it is. I also wanted to say that John and I are feeling much better after our car accident. If you're watching this vlog and you didn't see the previous one, you're going to want to check out vlog 24 because it was kind of an eventful thing. Anyway, we're feeling much better. The pain that was in our neck and shoulders is kind of moving down. So I would say for me, it's mostly just in my lower back right now. And I think it's just from getting, jostled around. And otherwise, yeah, we're doing okay. As I said in the last vlog many times, we were lucky. We were wearing our seatbelts. It could have been a whole lot worse, and so it was not our day to die. Look, you guys, there are 2 eggs now. I didn't realize that she would lay them over the course of several days, and I looked it up, and killdeer normally give birth. They normally lay 3 to 4 eggs, so I was surprised that there was only 1. Cool. Hope a raccoon doesn't want to. Okay, we're gonna move up on, that's Louise right there. And her little baby is the little blob right there. There's the other baby. Now, I've never been up close to this little baby, so I don't know what she's gonna do. Hi, baby. She's so cute. Oh, there she is. She's gonna get up. She's so teeny. Oh, that's a cute little sound. She has such a cute little face. Hi, baby. Hi. Hi. Hi, baby. Hi, you're so pretty. You have long eyelashes. Oh my gosh, Louise. That is, your baby's got to drink some of that milk. That looks horrible. You're much more friendly than the little boy. Look at you, you're just precious. So you guys, I'm worried about Louise. She looks like she's in labor, and I just called my neighbor who owns the cows, and she said that they've been going through hell for the last 3 days, that Louise has not been letting the little calf nurse, and they've been having to bottle feed her, and that Louise's udders are getting huge because she's not letting the calf nurse for some reason, and now she thinks possibly that so Shalise told me that she's on her way over here right now, and she just told me that that Louise is not going to be able to have any more babies because this will probably happen again. I hope she doesn't die. I hope the baby doesn't die. They're making it a priority for the calf to. They're gonna if the vet can't do something about it, and hopefully the vet will come today. He's has an emergency right now. But if he can't get her udders to start, they're not like flowing milk, so that when the baby starts to drink, they're not coming out readily. They're kind of getting plugged. And so if he can't get them open, then I don't know what that means for Louise. I don't know if she's already sick or if there's something they can do to dry up her milk. The baby will though have to be bottle fed for the next 3 months. So I told Shalise that I would help her if she needed me to help with feedings, because you know, the baby's gotta eat. But she's super weak. The little baby's just been laying like a little blob. Now the baby boy is right there. He's laying down right now too, but he does a lot more walking around and prancing around. And every time I look out here, I see this little one just laying on the ground. So anyway, golly, that stinks. Hopefully the vet will be able to fix everything. Hi guys, it's Wednesday. I'm in Flagstaff. This is actually the first time that I'm driving this rental car. John has been taking it to work. It's a Jeep Compass. It's a decent car. We have been, speaking of cars, we've been looking online, kind of shopping around and trying to locate some vehicles that are what we're looking for. I love it that you can online shop for a car and then go someplace and, you know, specifically say, can I see this car, instead of just, you know, randomly walking up to a lot. And I hate car shopping. I mean, it's always fun to look for a new car, but I hate that whole haggling business. And John and I are really terrible. When we go into a place, we'll say, you know, like, we want that car. This is the price that we're willing to pay. And they'll say, well, what do you want your monthly payment to be? And we're like, it's not about the monthly payment. It's the bottom line. This is what we're going to get it for. And we're like, listen, we know that you're going to go back and forth to your manager and come back with a different offer and all this stuff, but we're not paying a penny more than this amount. And so, like, the last time, well, not the last time, because the last 2 times we bought cars, we bought them from Saturn, which doesn't exist anymore. And even though we did not buy Saturn cars, we bought like my Lexus came from a Saturn dealership, and what the price on the car is the price on the car. That's all there is. There's no negotiation. And so, but when we bought John's 4Runner years ago, we just said to the guy, we're not playing the game. And he said, well, can you just kind of work with me here, because I got to do this thing with my manager. So he would go back and talk to his manager and come in and tell us the new thing, and we'd just stare at him and he'd go, okay. And so we were just, I hate that whole thing. So all that to say that I hope we don't have to play the haggling game, but that tends to be the thing. So we are looking for a car that is much more economical, hoping to get a hybrid that has some engine power, because we're still going to be having to go up the hill to Flagstaff. I won't need to be doing that much very frequently after I retire. Of course, I'll be going up to see my dad, and then John has applied for a job at a place that's closer to where we live now, and so we'll see if he gets that. And then so there won't be that hill driving on a daily basis, which makes for a difficult drive if your engine doesn't have much power. Anyway, hoping to get a hybrid. Probably it's not going to be some snazzy looking car, because we really do need it to be a 4-door. We're going to get rid of John's truck and get a truck that's just got just a 2-seater. So we need to have a car that seats 4 for the times when we do need to have more people in the car. So yeah, so I'm thinking that we're probably going to go down on Sunday after we're playing at church, and then we'll probably go after church on Sunday. Saturday, we just don't want to lose that day for doing some stuff around the house. And yeah, so I heard from the appraiser yesterday, we are getting more than $20 for the Lexus. They did total it, and it's the amount we're going to get is $6,400, which is really good. It's worth a lot more than I thought it was going to be. So anyway, that's nice, and we'll probably get a car that's 4 or 5 years old. Probably 5 at the most will be the oldest that it would be, and then so somewhere between a 2012 and a 2015 is what we're looking at. And yeah, so we'll finance a small amount of the car, and then when we sell John's truck, we'll just pay it off. I hate having a car payment. Anyway, today I am going over to campus to do some work, and then I have I'm going to see my dad briefly this afternoon. I would spend more time with him, but he's got a physical therapy appointment right in the middle of the day. So can't see him during that time. But I do have a female appointment this afternoon, and I'm going to talk to the doctor about the possibility of getting a hysterectomy or an oophorectomy, which is the procedure that removes your ovaries and your fallopian tubes. So I'm going to find out about that and talk with him about my risks, because I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. And yeah. Oh, and then one last thing I wanted to say before I stop talking now is that I filmed the Q&A video, and that will be going up next week, so be on the lookout for that. Hi, you guys. It's about 2:45. I just came out of my doctor's appointment, my female appointment, and I wanted to kind of follow up with you guys, because I had talked to you after my mother-in-law was first diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and I was talking about how people with polycystic ovarian syndrome have an increased risk of ovarian cancer. So I wanted to see him to ask about the possibility of having my ovaries removed or having a hysterectomy. He gave me some interesting information, because this doctor did an ablation on me in 2014, but I actually had a different primary care who was a nurse practitioner. She had sent me to him for the ablation a few years ago, but my primary care doctor has retired. She retired last summer. So I've never had a good conversation about polycystic ovarian syndrome or PCOS with this doctor. So he was actually saying, he goes, you know, since you're now menopausal, or pretty much getting there, he said you are not polycystic anymore. He said I always thought that it was that polycystic ovarian syndrome leads to insulin resistance, which is what I have, and that can lead to diabetes. Well, as it turns out, it's insulin resistance leads to polycystic ovarian syndrome, and also can lead to diabetes if you don't manage it. So he said you are no longer polycystic, and he said, and so your risk of getting ovarian cancer is normal. And then he said also, he asked, have you ever taken birth control pills? And I said, well, yeah, for a period of time I did, probably 10 or more years. And he said, well, that actually decreases, having taken birth control pills, that actually decreases your likelihood of having ovarian cancer. And so he said, it's just not a good option for you. He said, because your risk, he said, there's a 1% risk of complication with laparoscopic surgery. And he said that 1% risk far outweighs your risk for getting ovarian cancer. So that made me, that just made me feel a lot better. Same thing with breast cancer, because people with PCOS have a 3 to 4 times higher likelihood of breast cancer, but he said you're not polycystic anymore. So he just said, just make sure that you're getting your mammograms annually, and he also just was saying, I had heard conflicting things about once you hit a certain age that you don't have to have your female exams as often, and he said that it's at least up to 55 that you should have them annually, and then he said beyond that it's kind of your choice of whether you want to go every year or every 2 years. So anyway, and one thing I didn't know about, because I was saying something about how I haven't had a mammogram in a year and a half, so I'm not too far overdue. But I said, yeah, I just, you have to go into a doctor to get an order for a mammogram, and my doctor retired last summer, and he told me that you do not have to have an order to get a mammogram. Did you know that? He said any place you go, you can just walk in and get one. He said that the medical industry, whatever, figured that if it's that important for women to get annual mammograms, then why make it so difficult for them to get them? Let's just let them get a mammogram whenever it's convenient. Hey guys, I'm just leaving, visiting my dad. He's doing well. And it's kind of fun because he's starting to get kind of back to his old routine. When he first left skilled nursing and went back to his apartment, like, he wasn't calling me anymore, and he used to call me every night between 7 and 7:30, and so I was telling him, you should call me. And the reason why I don't call him is that a lot of times when he doesn't call me, it's usually because it's one of his kind of out of it sort of days, and he always seems to be a little flustered by my phone call, so I wait and let him call me. And he has started, for the last week, he started calling me, and he remembers things, and he's been calling and asking, how are you doing? And I'm like, hi, fine, how are you? And he's like, no, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, how are you doing since the accident? And then he keeps asking me about, when are we getting a new car and all this. So he's just remembering stuff we have talked about before. So that's been really cool to see. Anyway, the reason why I started up this video right now is that I wanted to tell you about this rental car we have and tell you never to get this car. It drives pretty well. It's a Jeep Compass, which is Jeep's version of a mid-size SUV. And it's comfortable and it drives nicely, but it has the teeniest, let me see if I can move this, teeniest rear window. And then there's no way I can position to show you, hold on, let me move it back. There's no way I can show you there's this huge blind spot, and it's just like this massive piece of the car that you cannot see when you're looking to try to change lanes. It's just this huge blind spot. So John had said something about it, and my gosh, this is my first time actually driving this car, and yeah, if I had bought a car and realized after I bought it that it had this blind spot and that it was hard to see out the back window, I would be so disappointed. So, but it is a good thing that we have this car, because it is reminding me that when we get a new car that I need to check and make sure that there aren't bad blind spots. The other thing that I will definitely make sure we get in another car is a car that has a tight turn radius. My Lexus was the worst. It had the hugest turn radius, and so you just could never like say, oh, I need to turn around and like do a sharp turn. Nah. You basically just had to go up to the next light, make a turn around, pull into somebody's driveway, back out, then turn around, because the turn radius was horrible on that. So those are two things I'm definitely looking for in my next car.